All right, this is it. We are down to three suspects. We know that Beth died between 9:10 and 10:30 p.m. on a Friday night. I feel like this episode is a little bittersweet. I've sort of become attached to hearing the town gossip and finding out the dirty, dark secrets of some of the people in the town. This episode is full of callbacks. What I'm trying to say by that is that there were a lot of things that we saw in previous boxes that come into play in this episode. So I feel like there's a lot to get through. So let's not waste any more time and let's get started. The first thing we have is Gwen's letter. Detective, somebody broke into my house last night. I got home to find the front door wide open. They didn't take anything, but we've got to get this figured out before it's too late. Of all the people we've been looking into, there are only three left who could have murdered my sister: Martin Hendricks, Jody Hendricks, and Jordan Woodard. I must have made them nervous when I talked to them. They didn't know I was recording. The audio tapes were on the desktop. While I was visiting Martin, I grabbed something from his private study that I think might have something to do with the navigators. I took a quick cell phone pic too while he wasn't in the room. These old men love their stupid souvenirs, so take a look at the coin and let me know if it means anything. I printed out some photos from social media to give you a better idea of who we're dealing with. Don't be fooled by their smiling faces. One of them is our killer. I can't stop imagining each of them on the vanishing beach dragging Beth's limp body into the surf. It's like a movie that keeps playing in my head. But no matter how much I think about it, I still don't know which one of them could have killed Beth. Martin, Jody, and Jordan all seem to be mixed up in the bridge accident, although I just can't figure out the details. They all had some connection to anchor management, whether it was through administrative stuff like Jody and Martin or cashing in like Jordan. And one of them and none of them have a solid alibi. We have to find out because the thought that Ruby might be living with her mother's killer terrifies me. She's really struggling, and I wonder if there's a part of her that knows something is wrong. The other day, our town manager, Amandine, contacted me. She teaches English at Mallory Rock High School and sent me a paper Ruby left behind in her classroom. I guess Amandine knows something is off with the Hendricks, or she wouldn't have sent it to them. Or she would have sent it to them. It's a take-home quiz from another class, and it got a weird poem or something written on it. I'd get her out of the house this minute if I could. I've been trying to find anything else that could help, even if it's small. I was going through some old emails, and I found a Good Fences newsletter with the top post from the month Beth died. I don't remember seeing some of them in the stuff Leah sent me a while back, so I printed them out. Maybe there's something in there that can help us. There's also one piece of good news, which is that I finally figured out what the letters GE mean on Beth's planner. GE is a section of the library, and on Beth's planner, and I didn't put it in here because this is sort of insignificant because it doesn't, she tells us right there it's a section in the library. It just says return library books and check GE on the same line, and so it even coincides with the library. But like I said, I didn't put it in here because I just didn't feel like there's already so much in here that just looking back at the planner to see her have the letters written, GE written on it, just wasn't important. Is a section of the library. It's got lots of old stuff from the town's history. I stopped by today and found something that looks similar to the paperwork I sent last time. Do you think Beth might have found it too? I know you never met Beth, but there's something in here to make you feel like you did. She was killed a few weeks after my birthday, and she picked out this card for me. Now I'm sending it to you to remind you we're fighting for Beth. Beth never gave up on me, so I won't give up on her. Beth loved to tell me, do what you can when you can. I used to think it was kind of precious, but now I really get it. While we can't bring her back, we can still find justice for her, and we're so close. So, like I said, I didn't, and I forgot to include the card, and the card really wasn't anything. There were no clues in it. It was just a card that called us back to the playlist we got in the first episode, and we can't play any of the playlists down here because of copyright claims. and stuff like that. So I just didn't include it. She did send us photos of Martin and Jody right here. Um, Photo of Jordan. Also, these printed pages, and I printed them out, or I put them on here. The one in the middle is bigger because that's the important one. Number one, we miss you, Beth Ferris-Hendricks. I still can't believe you're gone. Just wanted to say how much we love you, Patty and Benny. And so there's just a bunch of flavor. People in the town don't want B&Bs. They're complaining about the tourists. I'd rather eat literal garbage than dine at Louis' Lobster Pound again. 40 plus cans of baked beans from my loser ex-boyfriend for free. Her ex-boyfriend is a prepper, and she's mad at him. He cheated on her, so she's giving away his baked beans. This is the important one. Number 5. Loud noises from 9 to 10 last night. Have some common courtesy, people. I'm so sick and tired of neighbors being disrespectful. Last night I was woken from my sleep at 9 by a series of explosions. This racket lasted for an entire hour of ear-splitting misery. Please note that setting off fireworks in your backyard is dangerous and unlawful. When I find out who you are, I'll be reporting a noise violation. You've been warned. And then Tanya replies, feel free to file a report. When you do, they'll tell you that the noise you heard was fireworks testing for the Lighthouse Festival. This has been happening a week before the festival every year since 2017. Who's asleep at 9 anyway? And then number 6, I'm going to get back to that. I just want to finish reading these. Number 6 is Eve Journey's guitar recital. Number 7, why aren't there women allowed in the Navigators Club? And I'm going to read this just because it's from Samantha Gundy, and we've talked about her before. I was just talking about this to a friend today, and we've decided to take action. Long story short, I'm respectfully requesting an island-wide boycott of the Lighthouse Festival this year as a way to make our demands known. Who's with me? She wants to know why there aren't women allowed in the Navigators Club. And then Rhoda writes, I'm the friend you were talking to, and I literally told you not to do this. Everyone, please just ignore this post as usual. It will only encourage her if you engage. So, what post 5, loud noises from 9 to 10 last night, have some common courtesy. This is the night Beth was killed. And the fireworks started at 9 and went to 10. And this is going to become relevant here in just a minute as we listen to some of the audio tapes. So keep in mind, the fireworks started at 9 and ended at 10. And let's and these are hard to listen to. So just so you know, it's the audio quality, because she was hiding the microphone, etc., like they didn't skimp on the realism of it. It's bad quality audio.
My granddaughter. It's like there's this.
I know. I'm not talking forever. Okay. I just would like to spend the day with her. Every now and then.
Look, just talk to Marty. I mean, he can explain it better than I can.
All right.
Can I get you some tea?
No, I'm fine.
Well, I'll make some for me if you don't mind. Just talk to Marty, okay?
Actually, he told me to. He wants me to stop by later. I don't know why.
He's at the office all day. I just do the paperwork, so I hardly ever go in. Are you sure you don't want any?
I'm fine. All right. I'll have some if you're making it.
No trouble. We've got Earl Grey and English breakfast, apple spice, chamomile,
Apple spice.
lemongrass, oolong.
Apple spice is fine.
Oh, it's a little old. Lavender, ginger. Okay, suit yourself. Apple spice. Come up.
Thanks.
How's your what do you call it? Your investigation going? Any news?
Not really.
No surprise there.
But I would like to ask you about that night, if that's okay.
I barely remember it, but sure.
You said you were home. Is that right? You went to bed around 9:30?
Heck if I know. Have you been reading those report thingies?
It's public record.
No stone unturned, huh? Good for you. Well, if that's what I said, then I guess that must be right. I mean, it sounds right. I don't know. Oh, this kettle is amazing. I got it at the
And you said you took, well, you took some medicine beforehand, right?
If I said that, sure. It was probably the. Oh, I have this. What do you call it? It helps you. It helps you go to sleep.
Like a pill.
No, no, not a pill. Marty doesn't want me to take all that chemical stuff. A few months ago, he got me something to take instead. That Gundy girl sells it at her shop. You know, the one Joey used to.
Sam.
Her. Oh, I can't remember the name. They have ads for it in the Lantern all the time because I guess nobody wants to buy it. I know it's better for you, but boy, oh boy, that stuff is foul.
What do you mean?
You ever had it? The taste is just awful. Oh my goodness, I can barely get a half a glass down. Oh, yes. Anyway, I'm sure that's what I took. Yes, I know it is.
How's that?
They were testing the fireworks for the festival, that night. I get jumpy, just a little antsy sometimes. So I took that stuff and went to bed before they started. I slept like a baby. Oh, I told you that kettle was fast.
So you don't remember anything after you went to bed that night?
This doesn't feel healthy, Gwen. You killing yourself, to account for every single second of the. Although I'm happy.
I just wanted to make sure the report was right. While I'm here.
You know what? I have something for you.
Oh, that's fine. I was about to leave.
Just a minute now. This is for you.
Oh, thank you.
This is one of my favorites. And Beth liked it too. Sometimes after dinner, when she wasn't talking business with Marty, her and I would look at my collection, and she always commented on this one.
Oh, Jody, that's very sweet, but
in the fairy tales, mermaids always seem dangerous, luring ships to crash on rocky shores and so on. But I like to think maybe they were just trying to warn them, being nice, trying to get them to change course.
I'm not sure what to say. Thank you very much.
You don't have to be messing with your phone every second of the day. The whole world.
Can I move this back? No. So, I just want you to note the part that she said about changing course. Because the note that Gwen got, that was left on the bottle, in the bottle on her car, said, "You're heading towards danger, Gwen. This won't bring her back. Change course or else." So that's very similar wording to, in fact, exact wording that Jody wrote, or that Jody said in the recording. The Lantern ad, Mother Island, which is Samantha Gundy's store. This is the sleep stuff that Jody was referring to, that said they advertise in the Lantern all the time, which also happens to be what is in the background of the picture of Martin and Jody that we got. It's the same stuff. It says concentrated right there. And then the mermaid pics. This is the mermaid. This is what Jody just gave to Gwen, saying that Beth liked. And if you notice right here, there's a flat base. And if you're holding her, the whole thing is solid except for the arms, which move, which makes you feel like they move for a reason, like so that you can put something in there or take something out. And that leads us to this. the bottle, the message, the bottle, etc., goes right in the mermaid's arms. So now we know that Jody sent the note, which is sort of creepy to me that she then gave the mermaid to Gwen. Um, so we know Jody sent the note, but we know that Jody was pretty much drugged and out cold by 9 p.m. So that sort of eliminates her as being the murderer for the time being. Then we get to Jordan and his recording.
Rush. Sorry.
Please, I really could use your help.
30 seconds. That's it.
It's about the hotel.
Sure.
Well, so we have been having some trouble, and I just...
Specifics?
Well, we can't seem to get any business in the off-season because, well...
No kidding.
So, yeah, it's awful. We're really just treading water. Really just, barely treading water. And
You know I charge $600 an hour for consulting, right? Hang on. Hello? Stop right there. Sweetheart, if you're calling to tell me that your babysitter canceled yet again, you better hang up the phone right now. Okay. Stop talking. Here's the deal. Either find someone to cover you, or you give that kid a juice box, lock the doors, and cross your fingers. Because you're coming in tonight. Okay? No, we're done now. So, something, your business?
What?
The hotel? I don't have a lot of time.
I don't need you to do much. Just a favor. Just, look, I know you're in the Navigators Club, and I thought that maybe
Maybe what?
Oh, well, if someone like you were to bring up the hotel at the next meeting, or we're a community, and
Why?
like I said, as a favor. I mean, I guess I could. Okay, you know what? I could even go with you. Ask everyone for help, and
Why do you want to go to the club? Got it. This isn't really about the hotel, is it?
what?
Of course. I heard you were going around digging up stuff about the Nav. Sad you can't join.
That's not it.
So what?
I am just look.
What? You looking into me still?
No, I'm trying.
You're wasting your time. I didn't like that sister of yours, but I certainly didn't do anything about it. She fell off a cliff. No offense.
Whoa.
I already told you I was busy that night.
I checked the Rock Lounge. Nobody remembers you being there.
Because they're all so trustworthy and reliable, right? Hey, Marty. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. No, I handled it. Or I will, anyway. All right. Listen, Gwen, I have no idea what to tell you. To be honest, I was... All right, look, I was 3 sheets to the wind that night. And so, unfortunately, I don't really know where I was. But then again, neither do you. So, where does that leave us, Detective? B.B., sorry. Yeah, one second. This has been fun, Gwen. Long story short, nobody gets tourists in the off-season. You give your staff a pay cut if you don't want to fold. You're welcome. And I'll send you my bill.
Jordan!
So something very interesting right there. The phone call that he got that he said was from Martin. Said, "Hi, Marty." We're going to assume that Marty is Martin, right? The ringtone.
24-hour community pool and... Hey, excuse me? Are you serious? We're recording.
It's done, all right?
So, same ringtone as the call that Jordan just got from Martin, and the same voice. Now, before you say something about, well, just because it's the same ringtone, they clearly showed us in the voice recording um, that Jordan has different ringtones for different people. The waitress or bartender from the bar called, and she had a different ringtone. And then Martin called, and he had a different ringtone. So the assumption is different people have different ringtones. And so clearly, Jordan sabotaged the pump, apparently at Martin's request. He went there. Martin said, "Hey, I need you to do this." Jordan went and did it. Then Martin called him and said, "Hey, is it done?" And Jordan's like, "Yeah, I got it. I told you I had it." And so now we know that Jordan is also involved in this mess. And then there's Martin's audio.
It's a tough situation here, but there's no excuse. The Ferrises and Hendrickses go way back. Why don't we just agree to disagree about Ruby, huh? Well, let's not spoil a 300-year-old relationship.
Well, actually, I talked to Jody. Well, and I told her that she's here and she's young.
No, Bridge. Or maybe it's Canasta today.
Oh well, I'd like to see Ruby more. I know you want her to live with you, so I'm not saying really. I just want to spend some time with her. So, if
No, of course.
of course.
You're her aunt. Of course you can see her more.
Well, just so you know, Jody wasn't.
Leave Jody to me. She'll come around. She always does.
I don't know.
Another crisis averted. Anything else I can do for you while you're here?
Are you?
How's the pool?
Oh, fine. Although,
I can stop by tonight if you need anything.
it's been working fine. It's just, I don't know. I've been meaning to ask you. I mean, tell me again. What was wrong with it?
No, that's hard to say. Those pipes are old. They were old when you bought the place, and they're old now. What'd the insurance company say?
Oh, we've been going back and forth a lot. Gosh, it's taking forever.
These things do. I'm sure it'll all work out.
Right. But, I mean, what did you see when you went into the pump room that night?
It's hard to notice specifics when you're waist deep in water, right? But, patching up that leak, that was no picnic. I can tell you that. Anyway, I'm glad it stuck.
Oh, yeah, thanks. You really saved me.
Happy to help.
This is, wow. This is quite the setup you have got here.
I have to tell Jody you like it because she always makes fun. She calls it my cave.
It's nicer than a cave.
She says it looks like, what does she always say? It's like the Navigators Club convention in here.
You seem pretty proud.
13th generation of Hendrickses on the island? That's no small feat.
Don't you think it's kind of old-fashioned?
What?
All of it. I mean, just all of it. The Navigators Club.
That's surprising to hear from a Ferris.
But, well, how do you... I mean, okay, what do you even do at the meetings? I've never been.
They bore you to tears. But, hey, I'm glad you're interested. Our younger members don't, let's say, find it all that exciting. That's probably why they never show up at the meetings.
Well, if the numbers are bad, why don't you just let more people in?
Martin. The siren call. I'll head her off. You go out the back. I'll take care of the Ruby business, Glenn, okay?
Okay.
Coming, dear.
So he really didn't give us anything there. And I don't know why he's rushing Gwen out the back, but that doesn't matter. What does matter is that she told us that he left. She took a picture in the den right after he left before she walked out the back door. And so this is the den photo that Gwen took. Oops, that's not what I want to do. And it's just stuff that you would find from somebody who lived by a beach in a beachside community that collected nautical things. And there's that Medusa coin. So, looking at his den, that brings us to this. From episode 2, maybe? In the Good Fences posts or whatever. It's a post about the beach sign at Vanishing Beach being vandalized. One of the boards being stolen. And it used to say no swimming. It was a loose 2x4, easy for some drunkie to break off for a souvenir. So, then going back here and looking at Martin's den, we have a similar shaped and colored sign with the words no written right there. Then jumping to the autopsy report, the injury is 3.81 by 1.27. Those are very, 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 very similar dimensions to a 2x4. So right there, I believe we have our murder weapon. Apparently Martin is our murderer, but let's not end it yet. Let's not report to Gwen. Let's not turn this in. There's still some other things we need to look at because there's still more to the story to flesh out. This is the survey map that was in the thing, and it's an older survey map. It's from 1979. And I circled this here because I know that there's a code up there that is cut off in this, and we'll get to the code in a minute. So this map is a survey of karst bedrock locations. Karst is a type of landscape where the dissolving of the bedrock has created sinkholes, sinking streams, caves, springs, and other characteristic features. Basically, karst bedrock is unstable and not suitable to anchor a bridge into. That's the moral of this story. And you can see right here, if we blow up the key, probability of karst formation in bedrock. Extremely likely. Right here is Woodard Strand. That's where they were building the bridge. And this is saying, don't build anything there because it's not going to be secure. It's not going to be stable. So then jumping ahead and taking a look at the survey map that Anchor Management and Jordan and Martin put in, this says that Woodard Strand is very extremely stable. So this survey was at the very least falsified. I don't think anybody made a mistake. I think it was intentionally falsified. By Martin and Jordan and probably Jody. The coded message. Let's talk about this. So this is what happens when you make incorrect assumptions in previous episodes and then take them as fact. I'm going to brush over the mistakes that I made for the time being and finish this mystery before we discuss, and we are going to discuss the bad detective work on my part in this whole series. So the mistake believing that the the constellation on one of the messages was from Martin, and believing that Martin had an 11 shift whatever, I thought, because I thought that was from Martin, and Martin was one of the two people who we've used this code with before, I figured it wasn't Joey. So I started with Martin's code and I did an 11 shift, and that didn't work. And then I went to Joey's code and I did a 14 shift, and that didn't work. And so I couldn't figure out what to do. I was fixated on this being Martin, but nothing I had from Martin helped me solve it. So I went outside the box. When I was in the Navy, we were taught that anything can be fixed with a sledgehammer. And so I took a sledgehammer approach to this. Instead of doing it the conventional way that Hunter Killer wanted me to do, I did it my own way. I made the assumption, this is an apostrophe, I made the assumption that this was apostrophe S, because that makes the most sense, right? I mean, I realize that there are other words like T that come after an apostrophe, but probably the most common apostrophe whatever is an apostrophe S. So if you put S in place of the E and write out the code, this is the way you get it. And all I did was I said, okay, that's an S. I wrote out the alphabet, I typed an S under the E, and then I just finished the alphabet. T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E. Kept going. When I got to the end, I just started here, back to S. And that worked. That, wait, what am I missing? Okay. So, that gave me basically, it gave me precept 8, Caesar's End is another's, but then this word was still coded. Now, but we know from, this is from episode 1 where we had the navigator's list of precepts that we translated, that Caesar's End is the beginning of another. So that meant precept 8, Caesar's End is another's, this word had to be beginning. So if you put beginning, you substitute these letters for beginning, that gives you this key. And that key basically is just the alphabet in reverse. And when you do all that, break all that down, precept 8, Caesar's End is another's beginning. Your land, insurance. Jody signs everything. The greater good is often unpleasant. As E.M. said, and E.M. being Edgar Mallory, ad astra per aspera. Go to the stars through the rough. What this suggests to me, what it indicates, is that Martin, Jody, and Jordan were all in on the bridge collapse. All of them played a part in the bridge collapse. Martin killed Beth. And I've seen on Facebook people say, you know, after this is solved, people posting in a hunting killer group, why, you know, I don't understand. What would his motivation be? He claimed to have loved Beth. He claimed to be a family man. Keep in mind that if she solved this, she was going to expose him for what happened to the bridge, and he'd be on the hook for deaths of a number of people. And I'm not a lawyer, but I'm sure mixed in with the false survey report and the insurance fraud and the deaths of people, I'm sure that there were probably about 6,000 felonies that he committed. And that's motive enough for me. Self-preservation is motive enough for me, for him to do it. Keep in mind, if he's willing to break all these rules, take all these shortcuts, manipulate all of this stuff, then his moral compass is completely skewed. And just because he shows to be a family man doesn't mean that he's a family man. Look at the BTK killer. He, I think, had 2 kids. He was like part of the church. Like, he was a family man and a serial killer. I'm not saying that Martin is a serial killer, but he's obviously morally bankrupt in a lot of ways. And then guilty of probably close to that many felonies was Jordan. And I'm sure he had an idea of why he was sent to break the pump. I'm sure that he knew that Martin had to make some moves. And Jody, she was definitely in on the signing of the permits. We've come to the conclusion. Let me back up. I have come to the conclusion that Jody wasn't forging documents for any reason other than she was the person who did most of the paperwork, and probably a lot of times out of a matter of convenience, if Martin wasn't around, she went ahead and signed work orders, etc., etc. So I don't think that the 2 work orders that were changed, and I was speculating that they paid someone so that the lights would be out on the way to Vanishing Beach, like that never materialized into anything. So I just think that her signing things was a matter of convenience. She may not have known that Martin killed Beth because he wouldn't have needed to drug her. Unless it was really truly because of her story about the fireworks. It seems like, I feel like they almost suggested that she was dosed intentionally as opposed to her wanting to sleep through the fireworks. But she was definitely a conspirator on the bridge collapse. So then we get to Gwen's email. You're right. When I got your email, I felt my stomach drop. Ruby has been living with Martin this whole time. The thought of it makes me sick. The sweet, caring grandfather act was just that, an act. It all makes sense now. He killed Beth to shut her up so he could keep his terrible secret from seeing the light of day. He's the one who masterminded the bridge accident, and when my sister started putting 2 and 2 together, he murdered her. He drugged Jody and called Jordan to get to the hotel and break the pump. Then he stalked Beth to the Vanishing Beach, hit her on the head, and dragged her body to the sea. He even kept the murder weapon in his study. He made it to the hotel just in time to lock in his alibi, saving the day at the Mariners Lodge. This was all planned, his wet clothes and all. Martin's been dominating Mallory Rock for years, using the navigators and everyone else on the island as his pawns. He wasn't about to give up that kind of power. When push comes to shove, he was willing to kill for it. I just called Sully, and he thinks we have a strong case. He's heading over to find Martin as we speak. Ruby's safe with me. I wouldn't let Sully go over there until I got her away from the Hendricks house. I haven't told her anything yet because I don't know where to start. Even though it's painful, I'm grateful to finally know the truth. How can I ever thank you, Detective? I thought my world was over when Beth died, and you gave me the strength to keep going. Not just you, but all of the other people on the island who helped with the investigation. People like Sully, Zoe, Leah, and Amandine. Even Sam and Clarence in their way. Please know that I'll always be grateful. If you ever visit Mallory Rock, remember that the Mariners Lodge Hotel has a room waiting for you. It won't be a luxury suite, but it won't cost you a dime. The island isn't all sunshine and roses, but there's good here if you know where to look for it. And I finally realized I think I can make it better. Gwen. So that's it. I don't know. First, I don't know why she's thanking Sully. If you ask me, every time she mentioned Sully, he was trying to stop her. So I don't know where Sully being helpful comes from. I think he's a horrible police officer, in my opinion. I've seen some comments on Facebook about there being a lot of unanswered questions about Clarence, about Sam, about Cora. Keep in mind that we're hired from a distance to review clues and information and solve the murder of Beth, which we did. So all the other stuff about Clarence and Cora, that's really not important. Gwen thanked us, and even she's moved on apparently now, and so have we. Frustrating or not, remember, as a detective, we probably have other cases to work on, and so we, in the meta world, outside of the game, have all these questions we want answered. But the detectives in the game probably don't care about the irrelevant details or gossip outside of the case. We solved the case. Sure, there were things, but we were probably working on 4 cases or 5 cases at this time. So we, as the detective in the game, aren't as emotionally invested as the people outside of the game who've been working on this. If you got it when it first came out, you've been working on this for 6 months. We've been working on it for a little bit over 2 months. And so just keep that in mind. I know that there are frustrating things, but in the reality of how things really would be, we wouldn't get those answers about Cora, Clarence, Sam, and Joey, etc., etc. It just wouldn't be important. So a closer look at poor detective work. The biggest assumption that I made was that the coded message on episode 4 was from Martin to Joey, and it was not. I went back over the Constellation stuff from previous episodes, and I realized that I made the assumption that both coded messages were connected to each other. And just because they came to us together, I think the note from Joey was to Martin. This note, I think, was to Martin. Picked up files from Mom and left them in my desk drawer. Before you ask again, I didn't look at them as always. I don't understand why you let Mom handle your papers, but you won't let me. I followed everything you say, and I would have known which way to vote even if you hadn't told me. I don't need to be micromanaged anymore. What else do I need to prove for me to prove to you that I'm good enough? So I really do believe that this is from Joey to Martin. But this note, my patience wears thin. Looking at it a second time, I realized, had I not been so fixated on the 2 notes being connected, and just deciding because they came together and they're both written in the same code that they went together, my patience wears thin. Your reassurance was given several months ago, and I gave you my vote on the bridge, as promised. Have you found anything concrete on the anchor management yet? The Rocksteady needs a financial boost right now. Winning a lawsuit or a settlement would help us immensely. So the clues are right here that I missed. I gave you my vote. Martin's not going to write to Joey, who probably in Martin's eyes is incompetent, and give him a vote on something as important as the bridge. That's not going to happen. Somebody asking Martin about any news on anchor management yet? The Rocksteady needs a financial boost right now. We were already told that Clarence Reaver was involved in Rocksteady. So all of this points to Clarence. And because in my mind I decided it was from Martin, decided that was Martin's constellation, I just concentrated on that and stuck to it. So that constellation, by the way, is Cygnus, the swan. Once again, another assumption I made was that the work orders had somehow been changed or forged on purpose. And as I mentioned, I think it was just convenient for Jody to sign paperwork with Martin's name when he wasn't around for the purpose of being expedient and getting stuff done. So then the constellation thing still had me puzzled. After breaking the code, realizing that Martin did write the code on the survey. But what was this constellation? I just couldn't figure it out. And so I started, I looked up constellation shaped like a bird because I wanted to know what constellation this was, what it was called. And I was, constellation shaped like a bird, and then Google Images, a bunch of pictures came up. And that constellation was called Cygnus. And so then I remembered on Jordan's website, and the header of Jordan's website, his logo had a snake in it. So I Googled snake constellations and looked at pictures until I saw an outline that I recognized from the vote sheet. and that turned out to be Serpens. So the only clue that hadn't really been, or hadn't amounted to anything yet, was the coin. And so I Googled Medusa constellations because I don't remember anything from the couple of times that I've had mythology in class. I remember reading about Medusa. I don't remember anything about the Medusa myth itself. And so I came up with this. This is Perseus. Perseus is who killed Medusa, and I can't believe I forgot to put a picture of the coin in the slideshow. But the coin shows Medusa's head with a sword where her throat should be. So the coin gave us the clue. The coin pretty much said Medusa's death, or, Medusa's beheading. And yeah, it was Perseus. And Perseus has 12 stars, and that was the shift in the original cipher that I sledgehammered. So there you go. That is, right there is Martin's signature constellation. And so let me I need to do two things here to get us to the envelope. The envelope that I said I was not going to open until we were done with this investigation. I need your help. Coming from Thomas Ford Cross, the Copper Cliffs Mare. And so I am trying to be as neat as possible with this. It's good enough, and then I can just tear into it. Oh. I don't suppose it would have been easy to open. No. Well, no, not really. All right. These envelopes. Hunter Killer, I don't know where you buy your envelopes that seal, but you do a spectacular job picking out envelopes. Is that it? No, it is not it. Two things. Is that it? Are we a member of the Clean Plate Club now? Yes, we are. Oh, how about that? We'll leave that there. Sorry, this is live, not live, but it's real-time footage, so nothing's scanned in. Detective, I need your help. My friend has been murdered, and I think it has something to do with the upcoming election. My hometown needs to know the truth. I'm not sure what that is yet, but I'm hoping with your help we can find out. I found this flyer and many like it plastered around town. Hope it helps illustrate my suspicions about the kinds of creeps involved in the election. More to come, Franny Rollins. So that is Franny's letter. And it just dawned on me. Hold on. One more thing before, and I'm going to my email because they sent me something. So this is a copy of the email, or this is the email that Hunter Killer sent me when I was done. I submitted the solution. When journalist Ashley Mendoza is found dead after reporting on her town's mayoral election, her friend Franny takes it upon herself to find Ashley's killer. Franny must gather information on suspects within the competing campaigns to learn the truths that Ashley was so adamant about reporting. Franny will contact you soon. And then it's the same poster. And what that means is that we are going to start Off the Record, and we will be back with episode 1 as soon as it arrives. I finished this investigation. This is Saturday night. This will be released on Friday. This is Saturday night. I finished the investigation Friday, last night. And so there was no point in me ordering. They're not going to see the order. So I'm going to order Monday. First thing Monday morning, I'll order it. And hopefully they'll get it out that day. And depending on how long it takes, probably 2, maybe 3 weeks, we'll be back here with Off the Record, episode 1. So for now, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or criticisms, good or bad, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And until next time, I hope everybody has a great week.